Well, good afternoon, members of the Regional Council Executive Committee. This meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please make sure to turn on your microphone when speaking, and when those who are participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you would like to comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form, and MAG staff can assist with any questions you may have. If you parked in the garage, parking validators are available in the information table in the hallway. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff, and we will now begin the meeting with a roll call of members.
Thank you, Chair. I will go through the list of members. Please indicate if you're present when I call your name. Mayor Gallego. Mayor Giles. Thank you. Mayor Harkey.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Weiss.
Here.
Thank you. Is there anyone whom I missed? Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 on our agenda is call to the audience. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Information items are items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. We have a certain number of time that will be provided for call to the audience unless I guess I ask for an exception on that. So I understand that we have nobody who is requested to speak here. Is that still correct?
Correct, Chair. We have received 0 calls for the audience. We have received 7 online comments, which have been provided to the committee in advance of this meeting.
Well, very good. And those will be part of the minutes that will be available.
Yes, they will be. Thank you, Chair.
Very good. So item number 4. We have no information items on the agenda. So if we could proceed to our items for consent. Items 5A through D are on the consent agenda. Does any member on the committee have questions or request a presentation of any of the items? Hearing none, prior to the approval of consent agenda, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items on the consent agenda. And I understand we also have not received any to speak here, and a few of the items also were pertinent to the consent agenda. Is that still correct?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, you are correct. We have not received any online comments or requests to speak on the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve consent item 5A through 5D?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Ken Weiss.
Sorry, Ken, we already had Mayor Peterson that was here, but we'll take a second from you. Second.
I'll do that. Hi, Bridget.
All right. Your neighboring city of Buckeye tried to supersede you on that, but you were so eager that we'll acknowledge a second from the mayor of Avondale.
Thank you, sir.
Those participating in the meeting online take part on the voice vote by turning on their cameras. So we need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras, bad hair days, whatever, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on virtual participants who do not turn on their camera. So it looks like we have everyone available. So can I have a voice vote for those in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Hearing none, we have a
Yes.
unanimous decision. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, resolution for the National Public Transport Safety Telecommunicators work. This is on the agenda for action and will be presented by Nathan Pryor, Special Projects Administrator. Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Executive Committee. As Chairman noted, there is a resolution for your consideration today for approval. This week, all around the country, we are recognizing April 14th through the 20th as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. In the Maricopa region, we take this moment to recognize the ongoing work of our public safety telecommunicators who answer the call every hour of every day to administer aid to those in distress or need. For over 38 years, the staff at our public safety answering points have been providing excellent service to the millions of calls received each year. In fact, in 2023, in the Maricopa region, there were an estimated 3.5 million calls answered by more than 1,000 public safety telecommunicators at 26 of our 911 call centers. Today, we are joined by leadership of MAG's 911 committees and Maricopa Region 911 staff. If you could stand when I call your name. First, from our Public Safety Answering Point Managers Group is our chair, Ms. Stephanie Heinzelman with City of Chandler Police Department. We have our vice chair, Allie Edwards from City of Phoenix Police Department. From our 911 oversight team, unfortunately today, we are not joined by Brent Axine from City of Glendale PD or Michelle Potts, our vice chair, City of Chandler PD, unfortunately unable to attend today. Similarly, from our Maricopa Region 911 team, Ms. Liz Graber, our 911 administrator from City of Phoenix, is unable to attend, but we do have Assistant Chief Scott Walker from City of Phoenix Fire Department here today. Mr. Chair, at your discretion, we can open up for any comments or statements before we can proceed to consideration of the resolution for approval. Pending approval, we do have a photo opportunity set up after our vote. With that, Mr. Chairman, prepared to take any questions or comments.
Do we have any questions or comments related to this? Not online or live? Hearing that, let me read the resolution. A resolution recognizing April 14 through 20, 2024, the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas the Maricopa Association of Governments, or MAG, serves the residents of 27 cities and towns, 3 Native nations, and 2 counties. And whereas MAG has served as a convener on regional 911 issues since the 1980s and has worked with Maricopa Region 911 and member agencies to provide a high-quality emergency communication system to residents of the region. And whereas there will be an estimated 3.5 million 911 calls in the Maricopa region in 2023 that were answered by more than 1,000 public safety telecommunicators, got 26 public safety answering point responding to calls for help. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the link between people calling for help in an emergency situation and the emergency response agencies who arrive on the scene. And whereas the safety of our region's public police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone our public safety answering points. And whereas MAG recognizes the professional and dedicated service of public safety telecommunicators who answer 911 calls on a daily basis. Therefore, let it be resolved that the MAG Regional Council Executive Committee hereby recognizes the week of April 14 through 20, 2024 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And this will be signed by our chair, Mayor Kate Gallego, and our exec director, Ed Zucker. So again, any comments that anyone would like to make before we go further with a photo? Hearing none, I understand we have no requests on this agenda as well. Is that correct?
Thank you, Chair. You're correct. We have not received any comments on this agenda item.
All right, I have Mayor Peterson poised to make a motion. So a motion would be appropriate.
Proudly move to approve for this resolution.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
He's waiting for Ken.
All right, second by Mayor Orsborn. Again, if we could have everyone online turn on their camera and unmute their audio. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. All right. I guess we're going to take a photo now. Is that correct? And I don't know if we could get them online, kind of lurking behind us. Right. Close to the ceiling there. Yeah. But we didn't take out the fire extinguisher.
I think they want you to hold.
Executive committee members consider 4 chairs, and Mayor Archie, would you hold business in the place? Gilbert, what do you call it?
Gilbert today.
Gilbert. You need that back. At the bottom is fine. No.
Well, outstanding. Next is item number 7, the annual performance review of our MEG Executive Director. This item will be discussed in an exec session. So is there a motion to recess the meeting and go into exec session?
So moved.
Motion and a second by Mayor Peterson and Mayor Orsborn. With that, again, we will do one more voting online to go into exec session. Those who are online, if you can please turn on your cameras. Very good. Voice vote with both. All in favor of going into exec session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, with that, we will now enter into exec session. And everyone is excusing themselves except those who need to be here. Mr. Kaufman, give us the stern admonishment.
For the first time ever, I'm the holder of the panic button, so I'm going to keep that at arm's length so I don't absolutely
Would anyone like to make comments before we continue to item 8? Anyone in the room here? Seeing none? Anyone online?
Chair, I'll just point that we won't rehearse what was said during the executive session, but I'll just make note that the consensus is that we're very pleased with Mr. Zerker's performance, very grateful. He was uniquely qualified to come into this position at the time that he did with the challenges that he was facing. And on behalf of my community and the others, I think we just want to express our appreciation. Getting Prop 479 onto the ballot was no small achievement. And MAG will continue to play a role as far as information goes and being a fair broker of information during the election process. And he's assured us that he'll be sensitive to the playing that appropriate role, or that role appropriately. And I just want to personally and on behalf of my city, thank Mr. Zerker for stepping up and assuming this very important position.
Mayor
Mayor
Hart,
Peterson.
can I just add that since Mr. Zerker's contract is for 2 years, that we won't need to have further a vote or anything on this at this time. This was just an annual review of Mr. Zerker, and I completely concurred with everything that Mayor Giles shared. And thank you for everything that you've done so far, Mr. Zerker. And we continue to look forward to everything great that you'll continue to do with MAG, at least over the next year, at least, because we think you'll be here longer.
And I'll just close that conversation since nobody online is chiming up. But Mr. Zerker, we're honored to have you in this role, and we do look forward to your leadership in being some cohesiveness with cities and issues and concerns that certainly are relevant to each of us in our own jurisdiction. So thank you for being willing to continue to serve, and we're honored to serve with you.
Thank you. And thank you for your confidence. And just, we have really great committed staff here at MAG that are dedicated to serving your agencies and the region every day. So thanks for your confidence. Appreciate that very much.
All right, with that, let's move on to item 8, air quality update. This is for information only. And Matt Poppin, our environmental director, will present an update. Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Executive Committee. I just have a very brief update for you today regarding air quality. In terms of ozone, I just wanted to let you know that MAG has sent a follow-up letter to Assistant Administrator Goffman. We did that a couple weeks ago based on his visit, again, asking for more assistance on the items that we highlighted with ozone in particular. So we continue to work with EPA Region 9 staff to get answers to those questions and to move forward as quickly as we can in submitting a plan that will be approvable to EPA for the ozone item. And then secondly, in regards to EPA's new PM 2.5 standard, I just want to make you aware that Arizona Department of Environmental Quality has started that process of determining the boundaries for that new standard, what areas would be in attainment, where areas would not be in attainment with that process. So we'll be heavily involved in that, heavily participating in that, and providing feedback and comment as that goes through the public process and as they begin to prepare recommendations to the governor and then ultimately the governor will submit those recommendations to EPA in February of next year. So that's my update for today. If you have any questions, I'm available.
I'm not quite sure if, I'm sure you're knowledgeable, but this is probably more of an AMWA, but EPA also came out recently with PFAS recommendations that will have a great impact. Is AMWA probably the convening agent with that, or is there someone that has that data around the valley?
That's a good question, Mr. Chair, because AMWA's water availability and we're water quality.
We are,
So
okay.
we
That would be
probably
you.
should make sure that we're digging into the PFAS rules and anything, and we'll figure out between us and AMWA, maybe Schrog. I'm not sure, but that's a good question. We'll follow up on that.
Maybe I'll re-mention that on item number 11 for future items.
go.
And we can get that in.
Can do that.
All right. Any questions for Matt? Hearing none. Item number 10, legislative update. Audrey Coster.
Thank you, members of the Executive Committee, Vice Chair Harkey. Just a few items for you today. JLBC came out last week to provide updated numbers associated with the projected deficit. Adjusted those numbers down just a little bit to a $1.8 billion deficit over the next 2 years. That will largely frame ongoing conversations in small groups associated with the budget. Many policy matters still remain unaddressed, including several of the continuations for departments, including the Arizona Department of Transportation. We're assured that those conversations will occur as part of budget negotiations. Just a few items of bills related particularly to air quality. Senate Bill 1064, a bill that intends to expand the number of fuel blends available, was intended to be on COW last week, but ultimately was retained. The intent of that bill is to make fuels more affordable, particularly during the summer months. We expect continued action on that bill later this session. Senate Bill 2545 and 2546 were two bills that would exempt model year 2018 vehicles or newer from emission inspections. Both failed on the Senate floor. They would have been problematic from a state improvement plan perspective associated with, of course, our air quality contingency measures. Vice Chairman Harkey, members of Executive Committee, that completes my presentation for today.
And I might just add one thing on the budget, which is probably the most significant part of the budget as it just relates to the very narrow MAG jurisdiction is whatever they're going to do with many of the appropriations that were in transportation. Our team is actively watching those. Audra works with the lobbying group, and John Bullen is very familiar with those. Not all appropriations were created equally in terms of some of them were money that didn't exist anywhere else for something. Some of them are in addition to money that had already happened, had already been approved. So if you and your cities have specific questions about appropriations that affect your community, please let us know and we can dive in more deeply. I know we've talked with Mayor Osborne, particularly there's a couple in Buckeye that have a couple of different nuances to them. But if there's something with your city or your staff is asking, we can absolutely really dig into those with your staff or with you on what's happening. But right now, it's all speculation until we see what the budget is and what they do with the past appropriations. But we're monitoring it. SR 24 is on that list. So there's a number of those where we can talk about what the options are, depending on what the legislature does.
Any questions for Chief of Staff Custer? Seeing none, hearing none. Moving on to item number 11, requests for future agenda items. And as I mentioned, just an update on the ramifications of the EPA's PFAS changes and what will that mean? And do we have any known issues that would affect all of us I'm sure individual cities and airports have issues, but just the general perspective and the agencies working on that. Any other additional requests for future agenda items? Seeing none, comments from the committee? Hearing none, like to adjourn our meeting. Our next will be